Countless pranams at the lotus feet of Sadguru, countless pranams at the lotus feet of Swamiji. My respectful regards to all those who have attended here. I intend to make a very brief presentation of what is the role of the police in peace and reconciliation. I have got my colleague here, Ramakrishnan. We have done nearly 35 to 40 years of service in the police. So, what is the purpose of policing? Does it bring about peace and tranquility? If so, are they mandated to do it? Or is it just a mere understanding for procedure? I quote from law because it is binding on all. If it is not done, citizens have got a right to fight about that, go to court on various provisions of the writ petition, Article 226 of the Constitution or 32 of the Constitution, High Court or Supreme Court. This is the position. So I want to examine a few provisions available in the Criminal Procedure Code. I will not take much time to do the introduction, but the meat of the matter comes later. Basic question is, what disturbs peace? One, ego or self-assumed importance. Second, lack of ethics and lack of empathy. These three, empathy necessary, ethics necessary, ego not necessary. Ego is, if I understand properly, abbreviated form of edging God out. There is a supreme power that controls everything, and we think we are supreme. This is what is ego. So once we submit and surrender, which is the cornerstone of all religions, we understand that we are nothing. And we are created for a purpose, and that purpose is service. In any manner. Police, yes. Or any other civil service, yes. Accounts, yes. Social service, yes. There is no question of demarcation of what? Service to humanity. So that is a mandate that is there. That's why edging ourselves out, then you become a person who is devoid of ego. Right, the first two are natural, and the third is to be started from the start. It is very difficult to get over. In Advaita Vedanta, we speak about two defects. One is called the I, and second is called mind. I and mind. They are called Viparita Jnana. The real Jnana is neither I nor me. It is related, interrelated. So that is the important point. The whole problem arises out of that only. If one is able to submerge and possibly dissolve this feeling, then it becomes dear to everybody, and the question of peace naturally prevails. There is no need to bring peace. There is no question of bringing peace. It is there. What we are doing is disturbing the peace. Peace is there. This is natural. But what happens is, these two factors called I and the related mind create problems. That's why we say that should be decimated from the younger stage. Not working? Oh. Ethics. How do you define that? Simply they say non-injury. But this injury is a matter which is difficult to understand. You have to go to the definition given in the Indian Penal Code, section 44. It says, the word injury denotes any harm whatever illegally caused to any person in body, mind, reputation or property. So there are four areas where injury can be caused: body, mind, reputation or property. But then the controlling factor there is illegally caused. So it leads you to think you can legally cause injury. Yes. How? A surgeon operates. Injury is there. But is it legally an injury? No. But a rowdy does something and causes a damage. It becomes an injury. This is the difference. That's why the lawmakers have very clearly and precisely put whatever is illegally done is injury. Anything legal is not injury. Very interesting definition. Not the English meaning. Okay. So that is ethics. Huh? Inge varada? I don't want to harm somebody by doing it. That itself be injury. So, or can you do for me? Next one. Thank you, sir. Next one. I may plainly confess I don't know all these things. This electronic business. All this done by my wife for me. So I have no idea of all this. I know only two things, up arrow and down arrow. So kindly help me for the next. Yes. Empathy, not sympathy. Who are we to sympathize with somebody? We want God's sympathy. One person cannot sympathize with another. We can empathize. What is that? A very beautiful quotation I am taking from Tirukkural. Arvina Naguvadundo Piridin Noi, Tan Noi Bol Potrakade. What is the point in getting degrees and learning and things like that unless you take others' suffering as your own? That means automatically you will not cause injury to yourself. So that will be ethical. Next one. So parallel in the Bhagavad Gita, Atma Aupamyena Sarvatra Samam Pashyatiyo Arjuna Sukham va iti va dukham sayogi paramo mataha. I consider that person to be a yogi if he will empathize with the feelings of others, whether it is pleasurable or painful. Now the question of examining the word yogi is important. Yogi is not somebody who does asanas and all that. That's not the definition given for yogi in Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. Yogaha chitta vritti nirodha. Chittasya manasaha vrittehe parinamasya nirodha yat tat yogaha. Chitta, mind. Parinama is modification. So if a person can stop the modification of the mind, or rather still the mind, he becomes a yogi. Not physical activity. There are so many asanas that the yogis teach us. They are good for keeping your body. But what about the mind? That's why they say, when you are doing this round of the finger, index finger, 6 times clockwise and 6 times anti-clockwise, see that only and forget everything in this world. So mental concentration and concentrating, that's yoga. Yogaha chitta vritti nirodha. Chittasya manasaha vrittehe parinamasya nirodha yat tat yogaha iti yoga shastra uchyate. Very difficult, but that is the most important thing, so that you will realize that everything else is creation of the Lord and there is non-difference between one and the other. So the question of causing injury does not arise, because you will be causing injury to yourself. The highest of philosophy there. Next, sir. Ego, I told you, edging God out. No fear of anything. So I am the master of what I do, and therefore unconcerned with others. Right. Why do we need peace at all, after all? If you don't have peace, you will come to pieces. That's all. Very simple. Not the plural of peace. Go to pieces. That's what happens when there is no peace. So these are the positives of having that. That's why all scriptures emphasize what should be done. Everywhere you end, whatever religion, there's no question of any religion, it's a question of faith, belief, that's all. All religions say the same thing only. For that place, For that population, that period, that is what it is, that's all. Eternally all are same. That's why they say all roads will lead to Rome. What is the role of the police? Because Swamiji particularly wanted that to talk on that. And there is another policeman sitting here, he will complement or supplement what I have left and perhaps throw better light on that. The Constitution of India refers, there is no word police in the Constitution. It only says law and order. So if law is maintained and there is order in society, there is no question of any injury. So that is the duty of the police, law and order. Prevention is better than cure in every area, but very relevantly in police. Because if damage has happened, no point in investigation and punishing the culprit. It does not give any compensation for the victim. So what is most important in police work is prevention. 100% prevention may not be possible. Therefore, what is left over and what cannot be prevented, well, detection is necessary to bring justice. But detection is not the end point of police work. But generally people beat their breast and say, in my time I detected 99% of the cases. This is admission, you have allowed them to happen. This is the problem. If I say I have detected this case, what does it show? I have admitted. So it's a failure, not a success. That's why the Police Act says the first and foremost duty of the police is prevention. And when it's prevented, peace prevails. Of course, all cannot be prevented. For the simple reason, the denomination of the police in the population and the total population, it is not possible to do it. 3% of the population form the police force. So they have to battle 97%. Of course, all are not bad. The psychologists put population in 3 boxes. Box 1 or plus 10%. Whatever the situation, they will never do anything wrong. On the other side, there is a box 10% minus. Whatever the situation, they will do only wrong. So now you have got 20. The 80 are in the middle, cat on the wall. If situation is favorable, they will do something what they want. If it is not, they will contain themselves. So the policing is only for them. This 10 do not need, there is no point in dealing with that 10 also. If 80% are protected, 80 plus 10, 90%, that is all that we can do and that is all that needs to be done. That 10 will be there always, incorrigibles, nothing can be done with them. It is like the bacteria in the human body. There are good bacteria, bad bacteria also. But when what gets precision or dominance, then the person is healthy or unhealthy. This is exactly the society. You can take a miniature of body to society. So prevention is better and it applies generally to all, but definitely to police because it affects the society. Society means society at large, not a section or a sector. Next one. Criminal Procedure Code is the book which deals with the procedure in dealing with offences. When an offence takes place, there is investigation and then prosecution. But when it takes place, there is no point in saying that I have detected the case, because I said that we have failed. Okay. So what is to be done is prevention, so that peace will prevail. Then what is the role of the police in it? How do they contribute for prevalence of peace in society? What are the provisions available? So I am only taking random examples because there are a lot of things in that, but an idea, bird's eye view will give. Prevention of disorder in society. We have got 2 sections of law, 144 and 145 of the CRPC. 144. When order is proclaimed by the executive magistrate, more than 4 persons cannot collect in one place. They call it unlawful assembly. Assembly is the right constitutionally. When it becomes unlawful, then there is a duty of the police to disperse it by use of civil force. When it is necessary, they will use also military force. So, allowing unlawful assembly, which will militate against peace in society, the first point. Second, prevention of offences to human body, property or public peace. There are 3. Human body. You can start from hurt 323 IPC and go up to murder 302 of the IPC. All these form, in between so many are there, they will form offence against human body. Human body is a very important point. If somebody hits or kills a dog, it is not under the IPC. There is another law for that, not IPC. Human body. Second, property. 2 types of property, movable and immovable. Or third item, society, public. So there are provisions for prevention of these types of disturbance to individuals or to society. The ultimate aim, prevalence of peace, is provided in the CRPs. And then there is the oldest practice and perhaps the best practice even today, beats and patrols. 2 constables or sometimes 1 constable. They got areas marked within the police station jurisdiction to move about daytime and also night time, and certain places they halt also for some time to watch any illegal activity that is going on. So the presence of police itself in those areas gives an assurance of safety to the people. Not only that, first-hand information to the station people, what is happening, therefore what may happen, therefore what action is necessary to prevent any damage. Safety. Patrol can either be by walk or by vehicle. More areas to be covered, they call vehicle or patrol, otherwise they walk. Beats and patrols are slightly different, though they got same purpose. And somebody checks them at what point they are, at what time, whether there is anything untoward happening, will happen, so what action should be taken to prevent them. That's why I repeatedly say prevention is the duty of the police, not detection. Detection is what cannot be prevented. And certainly some things cannot be prevented, therefore detection is necessary. But detection is not the duty of the police. That's why beautifully in Tamil they say police kaval. They made Tamil kaval for that is guarding. So maintenance and order. Then next one is checking of the bad characters. There are various types given there as known depredator, rowdies, suspects, dossier criminals, so many things depending upon their activity in the criminal field. Generally we call them as BC, bad character. Where they are living, what are their activity, what are their contacts, what are their contacts, so that an eye is kept on their movement. And if possible, bring them back to society, reintegrate them and get them job so that they will be weaned away from crime. Otherwise, they keep a watch over the activity so that they are kept under control, not interfering with the individual or with society. So these are the areas available in the Criminal Procedure Code for prevention of offence, or positively saying preservation of peace. Next. Regarding prevention of offence, there are specific sections. Details are there, I don't want to go into it because it will become a police class. 41, 109 and 110. There are specific sections dealing with how to prevent. I just show a sample. Next one. 41. May arrest without warrant. You know, freedom is the entitlement of every individual. Arrest cannot be made when there is no reason for that. If that is done, is an offence onto the police under 341 of the IPC, illegal detention. There are certain offences which are called cognizable, meaning recognizable, and non-cognizable. All offences are divided like that. All IPC offences are divided as cognizable, non-cognizable. Non-cognizable, police has no business to do anything. Only under court orders they can take action. And for arrest also a warrant should be obtained, because independence of people are highest. Your constitution is that, Article 19. So in cognizable offence, meaning more serious. For example, if a man does that, it is called non-cognizable, 323. Doesn't mean that you go on doing that, that's a different story. But if that beating breaks the bone, it becomes cognizable. So serious offence and less serious offence. In serious offence, police may, not can or shall, may arrest without a warrant. That also is not always necessary. Policeman has to use his discretion to see whether arrest is necessary or not. If he is a repeater, or he is a terror to society, or he cannot be contained otherwise, then arrest becomes the may become shall. That's why the language is may. In cognizable offence, serious offence, where the police has to take cognizance of what has happened, arrest is not automatic. But that doesn't mean that arrest should not be made. But it should be made with discretion, with circumspection, and see that the person does not repeat the offence. So safety. The lawmakers have put the language very beautifully, correctly as may. Cognizable offence is an offence where the police officer may arrest the accused without warrant. So there are all various points there. I don't think I should go into all details. This is not a police training college where I should do it. Just an idea only, an exposure to you. So that is one. When the police may arrest without a warrant, idea is prevention. Prevention is one side of the coin, maintenance of peace is the other side of the coin. When you prevent offence, peace prevails. Next. These are all the sections of that. I think we'll leave it. Next. Next one, sir. This is an important provision in the Criminal Procedure Code, 109 and 110. All are preventive. In 109, if a person does not have reasonable means of subsistence, he can be, it's not arrest actually, he is taken to custody and is asked to execute a bond that he will be behaving properly. And if he violates the bond, he will be sent to jail. So it's a control. It's not actually an arrest or remand and all that. Initially it may be there, but the purpose is not that. He is put out of action. There is a control on it, that he undertakes to behave properly. If he violates the condition of the bond, then he will be committed to jail. That's 109. 110, there are some provisions in which two are important. Persons who indulge in rowdyism, and these two, there is a language used as habitually. Next slide. Next slide. Now these are all the examiners. Habitual. It's a very interesting word. If you ask somebody what's the meaning of habitual, they will simply say, I have it. And what is the habit? So there are some guidelines prescribed to see whether a thing is habitual or not. Two tests are there. A minimum of 3 instances, same instances, within a period which is reasonably apart. Suppose a person does 10 items in one day, it is not habitual. Because tomorrow he may turn a new leaf. So you should not make a person a criminal. That's why the administration of law has to be, it is something like a sensitive action. So Supreme Court has said the meaning of reasonably is at least a minimum of 3 instances parted by reasonable time interval, 1 to 2 and 2 to 3. Then it becomes a habit. The word habit is a very interesting word. You take H, it becomes a bit. You take A, it becomes bit. Take B, it becomes it. It's very difficult to get out. That is the meaning of habit. So not that a person in 1 day or 2 days does 20, 30 items, it is not habitual. Of course, law will take its own course, the man will be punished and all that, but you can't call it a habitual offender. That's the definition. Reasonable time interval. So it is ingrained in him that he will do it. That is the point. So for that, these provisions are there by which the person is bound over for good behavior and asked to produce 2 sureties to stand testimony to his conduct. And if he breaks that, he will go to jail, and sureties also will go to jail. Preventive. The idea is, if you condemn a person, then the society will condemn him, and he has no other way except to come to crime. Psychology. That's why redemption of a person who has done wrong is more important than committing him to jail. If a person is sent to jail, what will happen? His future is gone. Nobody will take him for any job. So what he will do for survival? In any case, I have gone to jail, let me go further. And he will become a jailbird, and whenever he is out, he will be a threat to society. So reclamation of the person who has gone out of the zone of legal living should not make him further a criminal. This is the principle in jurisprudence. He has done something wrong, okay. But let him at least come out of that and be a good citizen. Not again make him go into that and get deeper and deeper into the mire of criminality. And ultimately he becomes a total useless outcast in society. That's not the purpose, because it's always a danger if you do that. So police will not do it. That's why even arrest, the language is may arrest, not shall arrest. These nuances should be understood, otherwise they can create a negative effect. It's not a power. Police has actually no power at all. This is the beauty of the whole thing. We generally say Director General of Police power. What power has he got? Nothing. Enforce the law as it is. That's all. Where is the power? If he does not do that, he is an accused. If he does that, he is doing his job. Beyond that he does, he is also an accused. There is no power. He is after all a public servant. In any place, at any time, can a servant have power? Only master has got power. Servant will never have power. And who is master in a democracy? People, not the policeman. He may say I am Director General, he may have some decoration like that and all that. Okay. You are a highly paid but most respectable or respected public servant. So the question of going out of law does not arise. But whether people realize they do that, I don't know. This is a matter open to discussion. Okay. So habitual is a very important word. Not by doing 2, 3, 4 items even 1 day, you can't brand him totally as a criminal. So you try for some time. Here is a repeater, and with reasonable time, there is no chance of the man to coming back. Then you call him habitual, and there are provisions to deal with him, and there are treatment of offenders also, to see the maximum to bring them back to society and reintegrate them into society, so that they are not a threat to society, they are good for themselves also. That is the aim. Punishment is not the aim. Punishment is always regressive. But there are some cases where punishment is necessary, exception. Therefore, Justice V.R. Krishna here in one of the Supreme Court judgment said, bail is the right and jail is the exception. They are all intended to reclaim people who have gone out of the circle of legal activity, not to damage them and make them feeling miserable and revert to crime. So you are actually contributing to crime by arresting and detaining unnecessarily, creating criminals. I think the danger is because of statistics. You know the definition of statistics itself. Lies, damned lies, statistics. Next. So these are all the provisions. 144, you know, you have heard about that. 145, land dispute. 151, a person has not done anything, but he may do, in all probability, therefore, keep him in custody. Next. Next. Sir, next slide. Next one. This is 151. The offence is not committed, but in all probability, therefore prevention. 151. Next. Last point. Now Chanakya says, long back he has said in Arthashastra, how intelligence system is important in working. Gandai pashyandi gavaha, vedai pashyandi panditaha, chara chakshusho rajanaha, chakshubhyam idare jana. Animals, gavaha means not the cow. Animals find through sense of smell what is there. Learned people, by Vedic knowledge or whatever is there earlier by our great seers, they come to know by that. Kings have got spies as their eyes. And last item, for people like me, I can only see what I can see. And you find Tirukkural also, Botru means spy, Botrum Urai Sandra Noolum Iva Irandum Terkana Manavan Kan. The intelligence services and the literature, statecraft and laws are clearly the two eyes of the king. King you can substitute by administrator today. So that is the foundation of getting the knowledge about what can happen, where, by whom, and take preventive action, either 144, 145, 151 or 41, so that there is peace in society. That is why they are called peacekeepers of society. Police, if they do that. Otherwise, they will be creating pieces, not peace. Next one. Loka samasta sugano bhavantu. Nagashit dukkabad bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. Why 3 times shanti? Is it redundance or repetition? One shanti for us, one shanti for surrounding, one shanti for the universe. Nandri, Namaha, Nandri, Vanakkam. Last item. That's all.